Most Toyota owners spend thousands chasing performance gains they will never feel. But there are 5 upgrades that sit under $50 that Toyota engineers actually designed your car to benefit from. Not gimmicks, not placebo effects. Real, measurable improvements in engine life, fuel economy, safety, and comfort. These work because they address the exact weak points Toyota's own service data reveals most commonly. Let us get into upgrade number 1. Upgrade number 1, high-quality cabin air filter replacement with an activated charcoal upgrade. The cabin air filter sits behind your glove box, directly in the path of every cubic foot of air that enters your Toyota interior. Toyota installs a standard particulate filter from the factory. It catches dust and pollen, but it does almost nothing against odors, exhaust gases, or chemical compounds entering through the ventilation system. An activated charcoal cabin air filter costs between $15 and $30 at any auto parts store and takes about 10 minutes to install. You open the glove box, press the side panels inward to release the stops, lower the door past its normal range, and the filter housing is right there. Slide the old filter out, slide the new one in, and close everything back up. Here is why it matters beyond fresh air. A clogged or low-quality cabin air filter forces your Toyota blower motor to work harder than designed. That extra load strains the motor bearings over time. Toyota HVAC engineers designed the system around a specific airflow resistance, and a blocked filter throws that calculation off. A clean, high-quality filter restores proper airflow, reduces blower motor strain, and allows the evaporator core to dehumidify the cabin correctly. That means your air conditioning cools faster, and the system runs more efficiently. Real-world fuel economy testing has shown that excessive HVAC load from a restricted cabin filter can reduce fuel economy by a measurable margin on combined city and highway driving cycles. The activated charcoal layer adds odor elimination that the stock filters simply cannot provide, especially if you drive in heavy traffic near industrial areas, or if the previous owner smoked in the vehicle. For $25, this is one of the highest value per dollar upgrades available for any Toyota. Upgrade number 2, high-flow engine air filter replacement. The engine air filter sits inside the air filter housing, a black plastic box connected to your intake tube under the hood. On most Toyota 4-cylinder engines, like the 2ARFE found in Camry and RAV4 models, this housing sits near the top of the engine bay. On the 2GRFE V6, it is accessible on either side of the engine. The housing is held by clips or screws. Open it, swap the filter, and close it back up. The whole process takes under 5 minutes. Toyota's factory filter is conservative by design. It prioritizes fine filtration for engine protection, which it should, but premium aftermarket filters from reputable manufacturers achieve the same filtration quality while allowing higher AIR flow volumes. More airflow means the engine management system has more oxygen to work with during combustion, which improves throttle response and can contribute to better fuel economy on highway runs. The more important reason to do this upgrade is protection. A clogged stock filter forces the engine to pull air through an increasingly restricted path. This drops intake manifold pressure, confuses the mass airflow sensor located in the intake tube between the airbox and throttle body, and causes the ECU to miscalculate fuel delivery. Toyota service data consistently shows that vehicles with dirty engine air filters produce elevated long-term fuel trim values, which means the engine is compensating for what it is not getting. That compensation accelerates fuel injector wear and valve carbon buildup. A high-flow premium filter costs $20 to $40 and eliminates that chain of events entirely. Upgrade number 3. Fresh spark plugs, specifically Iridium or Platinum. This is the upgrade most Toyota owners delay too long because they assume spark plugs are a dealership-only job. They are not. On 4-cylinder Toyota engines, the spark plugs sit at the top of the engine directly beneath the ignition coils. Remove the coil connector, pull the coil, and the plug is exposed. A standard spark plug socket, an extension, and a ratchet handle the rest. Toyota specifies Iridium spark plugs for most modern engines for a reason. Iridium tips wear far slower than copper, and they allow a cleaner, more consistent spark. A degraded spark plug does two things that silently damage your Toyota. First, it causes incomplete combustion. Partially burned fuel exits through the exhaust system, which loads the catalytic converter with unburned hydrocarbons and shortens its lifespan dramatically. Catalytic converter replacement on a Toyota Camry runs $800 to $1,500. Second, a misfiring cylinder forces the remaining cylinders to compensate, increasing thermal load on pistons and rings in those cylinders. A set of 4 Iridium spark plugs for a Toyota 4-cylinder costs between $30 and $50. The improvement in cold start quality, idle smoothness, and throttle response is immediate and noticeable. Toyota's own tune-up intervals recommend Iridium plugs at 60,000 miles, but real-world oil analysis and engine inspection data shows that engines in short trip service benefit from replacement closer to 40,000 miles. If you made it this far, consider liking this video, giving it a thumbs up, and subscribing to my channel. This helps me bring you more honest car advice. Upgrade number 4. Fresh fuel injector cleaner run through a full tank. This is the $10 upgrade that Toyota technicians quietly recommend when a car comes in with hesitation, a rough idle, or slightly elevated fuel consumption, and nothing obvious shows up on a scan tool. A bottle of high-quality polyethyramine-based fuel system cleaner goes directly into the fuel tank before filling up. The cleaner travels through the fuel lines, passes through the fuel injectors, and burns off carbon deposits during normal combustion. Here is why this matters specifically for Toyota engines. Toyota's direct injection engines, including the D4ST system used in newer RAV4 and Camry models, spray fuel directly into the combustion chamber rather than upstream at the intake port. This design is highly efficient, but it means fuel never washes the back of the intake valves the way port injection does. Carbon deposits accumulate on the intake valve stems over time, disrupting airflow into the cylinder and causing inconsistent combustion events. Toyota dealerships charge significant labor rates to walnut blast these valves clean. A fuel system cleaner will not reach the intake valves directly in a direct injection system, but it will clean the injector tips, the fuel pressure regulator, and the combustion chamber surfaces that it does contact. On port-injected Toyota engines like the older 2AZFE found in Camry models before the redesign, the cleaner passes directly over the intake valves and removes light to moderate carbon deposits effectively. Engine performance data from before and after treatment on these engines shows measurable improvements in idle stability and fuel economy on vehicles with over 60,000 miles. 1 bottle per year, or every 15,000 miles, keeps the fuel delivery system in the condition Toyota designed it to operate in. Upgrade number 5 is a fresh coolant system, flush with Toyota-specified super long-life coolant. This upgrade often saves Toyota engines from the most expensive single failure mode in the lineup: a damaged water pump, corroded cooling passages, or a compromised head gasket caused by degraded coolant. Toyota Super Long Life Coolant is identifiable by its pink color. It is an organic acid technology formula engineered to protect aluminum engine components, the water pump impeller, thermostat housing, and radiator tubes that Toyota uses throughout their cooling system. Generic green coolant contains silicate-based corrosion inhibitors that deplete rapidly and can actually accelerate corrosion in aluminum components if left past their service life. Toyota service data identifies coolant degradation as a contributing factor in a significant number of water pump failures on high-mileage Camry, Corolla, and RAV4 engines. The water pump on these engines is driven by the serpentine belt or the timing chain, and when it fails, it typically causes the engine to overheat rapidly. Even a brief overheating event on Toyota's aluminum block engines can warp the cylinder head and compromise the head gasket seal, turning a $50 maintenance item into a $2,000 to $4,000 repair. A coolant flush kit and Toyota Super Long Life Coolant together cost between $30 and $50. The process involves draining the radiator through the drain petcock located at the bottom corner of the radiator, flushing with distilled water, then filling with a 50-50 mixture of Toyota Super Long Life Coolant and distilled water. Never use tap water, as mineral content attacks aluminum surfaces over time. Toyota recommends the first coolant change at 100,000 miles, and every 50,000 miles after that. Vehicles in hard service, in hot climates, or with unknown maintenance history benefit significantly from a fresh fill regardless of mileage. So here's what connects all 5 of these upgrades. They do not add performance your Toyota was not built for. They restore and maintain the performance Toyota engineered in from the beginning. Clogged filters, worn plugs, dirty injectors, and degraded coolant do not cause dramatic failures overnight. They cause slow, invisible deterioration that shows up years later as poor fuel economy, rough idle, and expensive component failures. These 5 upgrades for less than $50 each address the exact systems Toyota service data identifies as the most common points of preventable wear. Do all 5, and your Toyota runs the way it left the factory. Skip them, and time does its work quietly. If you are enjoying this video, consider watching the next one, where I share the exact maintenance schedule that helps Toyota engines reach 300,000 miles.